Varley and welcome back to the home of EDFL Web TV, the Pascoe Vale Hotel. This season we'll be coming to you weekly right here on the EDFL YouTube channel, so make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with all our videos. It's been another action-packed week in the EDFL, so let's jump straight into this week's top talking points. This week we're at Essendon Ford, the sponsor of Essendon Ford Division 1, and I'm joined by Adem Saricaoglu and Pellizzeri to have a look back at the weekend that's been and a look forward to the weekend that is coming. Let's start off with the match of the weekend, which was Essendon Doutta Stars versus Craigieburn, with Doutta Stars winning by 68 points. We were all there. What do you guys think of the game?
I tipped it, Teo. Not many people did, but I tipped it. Essendon Doutta Stars finally broke that unbeaten streak of Craigieburns on the weekend, and a lot of talking points out of this one.
Sure are, and yes, the two people who did tip it in the football are standing right here next to me, so well done, guys. I thought that Craigieburns' role would continue, and as we go to the vision, let's get into some of the major talking points of the game. Adem, Craigieburn were blown away in the last quarter, but really where Douttas won the game was the end of the second quarter. They had a fantastic run into half-time. Craigieburn were down by 45. They only got it back to 20 points in the third quarter, and that's where the big talking point happened. Jason Cloke, the latest we've heard is a fractured cheekbone. This is a huge injury. It didn't just cost Craigieburn on the day. This could be something with real ongoing ramifications for the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, it does need to be kept in mind that Craigieburns' bench did keep on dwindling throughout the day. I think Josh Young, former Avondale Heights, showed some good signs earlier in the game, and I think he sat out the majority of the game there, so someone straight out of Premier. And obviously Jason Cloke, we know the impact that he and Cameron have had this year. It's going to be very, very difficult for Craigieburn to stay up when you lose two major playmakers like that straight away.
Now, we spoke to Peter Bugden, the Craigieburn coach, after the game, and also our Sportsmoves best on ground, Charles Lill. They're both coming up. But Claire, we were crossing down to you. You were near the Craigieburn bench for much of the day, and it really felt as though by three-quarter time they'd perhaps conceded that they weren't going to win. But what does it say that Essendon Doutta Stars were able to kick away and win so emphatically rather than Craigieburn perhaps battling on like they wanted to at the last change to at least try and win the last quarter and plant a few seeds for what inevitably seems a meeting in the qualifying final later this year?
Well, they definitely suffered by losing three players, so they only had one player on the bench by that final quarter and losing one of the cloaks of all their players as well. But I even noticed that Peter Bugden, he had his back to the game for some of the match, and I really think that they gave up, and even though they thought they were the biggest, baddest dogs in the competition, they didn't actually bring that in the final quarter, and that's why Doutta Stars got away.
We'll get back to that biggest, baddest dogs quote in a minute, Claire, but did they give up, or was it perhaps a bit of tanking in there, knowing that perhaps an unbeaten run into the finals wasn't going to be the best for the mental preparation?
Ooh, a conspiracy, I like it. Perhaps, but I think they wanted to win it. Every huddle that I saw them in and every encouragement I saw the coaching team give the players, they really wanted to win. They wanted to come away as the undefeated Craigieburn going into finals. So I don't think so.
Fair enough. Just putting it out there, Teo. That's all right.
Well, I mean, my other thoughts on this game are that Douttas were very impressive. If they have Mitch Jensen back from the VFL for finals, we saw what he could do when he kicked 4 goals in 4 minutes at the end of the game. But really, they almost didn't need that sort of contribution because the game was won by then. And they just had such great versatility in that forward line. Javasi stepped up to kick a couple. Buttigieg as well. Shiloh Smith was excellent. So plenty of roads to goal for Essendon Doutta Stars. And when you think that they've got Kite to come back into this team, Cade Carey is only a maybe, but of course we know that they've got options in that forward line and they've got real versatility kicking goals out of the midfield. So a lot to like about Douttas. Does it change who the premiership favourite is from here? I think we all went into the game thinking that it was going to be Craigieburn, but what did you conclude by the end of the match?
Douttas are the favourite, Teo, and that is for me, hands down. The reason why? They showed they've got a lot of scoring power up forward. They can kick goals in a hurry. They've got a really good midfield that can certainly push up forward and get the job done there. We're still waiting for Aaron Kite to come back into this side. He is the best goal kicker in Essendon Ford Division 1, and he's going to walk into a side that can already kick goals in a hurry. I don't think Craigieburns' backline can handle it. We'll find out in September when they do meet, because we think that will still be the top two, and fair enough. And also the question mark now on Jason Cloke as well. For mine, they are an odds-on favourite to win the flag right now, Essendon Doutta Stars.
Oh, it's always a bit of a balance, I think. There was certainly a big pat on the back to begin with, but he was very big on let's make sure we get down on Tuesday and get on the track and keep looking to improve heading towards the end of the year.
It is local footy, but how much homework is required before a game like today against Craigieburn? Did you get given a dossier on opposition players? Do you get given any video analysis or scouting notes? Or is it still largely about you guys and not about them?
Oh, there wasn't any video analysis, but we have a very diligent coaching panel who I think have put a lot of homework into Craigieburn and highlighted a couple of their set plays and a couple of players we needed to watch out for. And I think, as a general rule, our players stuck to the plan pretty well, and maybe that's what came to the fore at the end of the day. Look, I probably consider myself a bit of a utility. I've been thrown around in all sorts of positions throughout my career. I love the freedom of the midfield, but looking forward, I think the half-back line somewhere is probably where I am able to utilise my reading of the play and my kicking skills and that sort of thing. Now,
tell us your story. What brought you to Doutta Stars, and where are you originally from?
It's an interesting story. I was actually a Perth boy up until this year, so I've only been in Victoria for 4 or 5 months now. I did a little bit of pre-season training at Essendon and almost got picked up. I didn't, so they invited me over to play in their VFL squad. I've only played 1 game there this year, and the VFL side are on top of the ladder at this point and playing very good footy, so it's pretty competitive in there. But it was the Dean Wallace connection that's got me down here, and I've tried really hard to embrace the club, and they're a good bunch of boys, and I'm really enjoying it. So.
And your future, for the foreseeable future, is it Douta's? Like, I mean, now that you've got skin in the game as far as the premiership race, is that your primary goal, or are you still hanging out for that VFL call to come from the next level up?
Oh, it's a balance of both. I'm certainly trying my hardest to play VFL whenever I can, but this is a very good place to fall back on, and I love playing down here, and I love the club, and obviously winning form's good form, so it's very enjoyable.
I think it was always the capacity for that to happen when you've got a number of good players off the ground. You know, I think we all rate Josh Young as one of the premium midfielders in the competition. You lose him in the first 10 minutes of the game, the skipper, and then obviously we lost Jace 5 or 6 minutes into the third quarter. So, no, I thought they fought on, pretty well in the third quarter. In the last quarter, I mean, we had 5 under 18 boys playing out there up against, big-bodied Douta's team. So, no, I'm not surprised by it. I thought they had a crack.
Do you make a positive out of the situation that you have been beaten today?
Nah, not at all. I think at the end of the day, we lost 13 games of football last year. So remember, there's 17 of the boys that played all last year playing out here. The greatest fear for us is failure, isn't it? Week in, week out. So we didn't come here to lose the game. We come here to win. Sometimes the cards don't go your way. Doutta Stars has made it pretty clear, I think, by going out and buying Zephyr Skinner just this week, that they're fair income and they're having a 100% crack at winning the flag. Well, we've worked hard through the first half of the year to get in the position we're in, so we get a crack at Douta's come first final, and the winner goes to a grand final. So, there's no whole... We continue to play young players. I don't know how many under-18s Douta's had today, but there was 5 young under-18 Craigieburn boys playing. If you don't believe you can win, you might as well just... It's very hard to motivate the footballers to go out there in the last quarter and have a crack in the game. And I think at the three-quarter time huddle, they were up and about and were believing in what we were doing. But at the end of the day, it's a big, strong, powerful side that they've put on the park. So good luck to them, congratulations, and we look forward to meeting you again.
And now we are joined by Adem Russell to have a look at all the other games in Division 1 from the weekend. Adem, you were at West Meadows and Glenroy. Can you tell us about that game?
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting contest, Claire. It was a bit of a wet and windy day down at West Meadows, but West Meadows, they got the win in the end, and they keep in touch with finals, and Glenroy slipped to the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah. And any other thoughts from both of you from the other games over the weekend?
Just want to ask you just quickly on Glenroy. You've seen quite a few sides that are near the bottom half of Essendon 4 Division 1 now. Just how serious is that threat for relegation for the Royal Boys?
Well, they were good in the first half. They kept themselves in the contest. They were 1 point up at half time. It was the third quarter that really let them down. It was their one really bad quarter of football. West Meadows, kicking against the wind, had 9 scoring shots to 4, and by the time three-quarter time hit, Glenroy just looked done. I have seen Hillside, I have seen East Keilor in recent weeks, and I think Glenroy, they played good football, and I think they played better football than those sides that I saw on the weekend, 2 weeks ago it was. But, they're at the bottom of the ladder, so they've got to win some of those close games, and hopefully they, for Glenroy's sake, they can find themselves off the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah, I think, Claire, the other talking points, obviously the draw we need to probably touch on a little bit. I think Oak Park might have just kicked themselves out of that one, obviously, but the other game, Taylors Lakes and Tullamarine. The important thing to remember for Taylors Lakes right now is they are playing some of their kids now, which is probably fair enough. I saw that young Zane Ziddick, who I interviewed a couple of years ago, is a very good young kid. Saw him getting a game in the ones and kicked the goal, I think. So congratulations to him, and just good luck to the Taylors Lakes boys that are going to get a go in this second half of the year. But it's a pretty important one now, considering that they're in that relegation threat.
And now we'll look ahead to round 13 and get your tips for Division 1. First up, we have Taylors Lakes and Essendon Doutta Stars.
Well, Douta's, for mine, hands down favourite right now. They should win.
Yeah, I can't see Douta's losing that one.
Yeah, I think that's an obvious one. Craigieburn and Hillside.
Yeah, Craigieburn will bounce back, guys. Hillside are showing some good little signs right now, but Craigieburn are dropping 2 in a row.
Yeah, Hillside on a bit of a run before the bye, but I think once again Craigieburn the stronger team in that contest, and they'll get the job done.
East Keilor and West Meadows.
Let you tip that one first.
I'm going to go with Westy. I saw them last weekend, and I think they played some pretty good football. East Keilor were good to get the draw on the weekend. I saw them the week before against Hillside, and they played some pretty disappointing football. So hopefully they've turned things around and can make it a bit of a contest, but I still think West Meadows will get up.
The Tigers have a habit of just letting themselves down mentally in situations where they should be better, but I still think they'll win.
Ooh. And Glenroy Tullamarine.
Yeah, Tulla, for mine, probably the clear third best side in the competition right now. They get the win, simple as that.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Adam. I think Tullamarine looking like a very good finals candidate, and they'll get the win as well.
And now we're going to have a look at Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division, where the standout game was Keilor versus Pascoe Vale, with Keilor beating Pascoe Vale by 54 points. What do you think of this upset?
Maybe it wasn't an upset, considering Avondale Heights beat Pascoe Vale recently as well, and Keilor seemed to be coming good. Looking at the results, though, I had a look at Pascoe Vale's list, and I was just expecting for a couple of names to be out. Maybe no Daniel Harris, maybe Warren had a rest. No, they all played. No injuries to report from as far as I've heard so far. So they had a full side, Pascoe Vale, and they got done. Keilor finally gets some respect, I believe. A few people have been a bit down on them in the last couple of years, and probably fair enough, but they're starting to perform now. They were finals last year, and they look like the best of the chasing pack right now. Strathmore might have a bit to say about that. But well done to Lee Burke, who got the job done on Ben Warren. Played on him the entire game and kept him goalless. First time we've seen that ever in the EDFL, I suppose.
Yeah, it was an interesting contest. I think Keilor, they might even fancy themselves for third place. Adam, what do you think about that? Third place, yeah. Third,
okay. 6 weeks left. They'd have to get a pretty good run on. We'll have to see what their draw is as well. Probably listen to the podcast as part of this episode, and we'll go into a bit more depth. But nice little teaser there, Adam Russell.
And then any other standouts from the weekend?
Yeah, look, Avondale Heights getting smashed by Aberfeldy, and an incredible scoreline, Claire. I think you've got it there.
I do.
What is that? 32 goals, 6. Well, I think the goal count was 7. They are quite simply the team to beat right now. You bring in an Angus Graham, who kicked 3 goals as well in this particular game. And again, going through Avondale Heights, that lineup there, I don't think there were too many missing. A lot of good names there, a lot of good players, interleague players that were playing for Avondale Heights on the weekend. And they've been absolutely destroyed by that machine down at Clifton Park called Aberfeldy.
Yeah, some scintillating form for Aberfeldy, looking red hot at the moment. They are looking very strong going into finals in a couple of weeks.
Can anyone beat them right now?
From what I've seen, no chance.
Long way to go, and we'll see just what happens in the final 6 weeks before finals.
Very interesting. Now I'll get your quick tips for the round 13 coming up. First up, we have Greenvale and Maribyrnong Park.
Jets.
Yeah, Jets for me as well. Not too convinced about Maribyrnong Park at the moment. They are low percentage and don't have the points on the board, so.
They've had a few out, so the Jets should win.
Okay, now Northern Saints and Airport West.
Broadcast game, listen in, 98.9 Northwest FM and Team App as well, but I'm going to go probably Northern Saints, I reckon, at home.
I'm going to tip the Saints as well. I'm pretty bullish about their chances.
I've also tipped the Saints, just a little plug there. Strathmore and Pascoe Vale.
interesting game. It's at Lebanon Reserve, I believe. Strathmore.
I was hoping that would be my sort of standout pick, but I'm going to go for Strathmore as well. I think they'll take a lot of confidence out of the results against Pascoe Vale the last few weeks, and they'll get the win as well, Strathmore.
Coin flip, yeah.
And Keele or Avondale Heights?
Keilor, you have to look at the form line right now to suggest, and it suggests that Keilor's on the up, Avondale Heights is falling.
Yeah, Keele are looking good at the moment. I'll take them as well.
And finally, Aberfeldy and West Coburg.
Margin. Sorry, West Coburg. I actually liked what you've done recently. I think this is at least 150.
Yeah, Aberfeldy easily.
Okay, and now let's have a look at Division 2, where the standout game from the weekend was Coburg Districts and Moonee Valley, with Coburg Districts smashing them by 8 goals. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, look, they're being tested a little bit for personnel right now, Moonee Valley, and it's just the nature of Division 2 at the moment, Adam Russell. It's apart from Hadfield, who are clearly on top of the ladder, and no one's really coming close to them. You've got 4 sides all on the same win-loss. I think it's 7-3 at the moment. So anything can happen when you get those matchups between 2 and 5 on the ladder. Clearly that's what's happened on the weekend. Well done to Coburg Districts, who have been flailing, I'll get that one out right, in recent weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I think you mentioned it in all teams, or those 4 teams, all on 32 points at the moment. So it definitely opens up the finals race.
Yeah, and a lot of names that's delivered for Coburg Districts. If they can keep it all together, then look out come September.
And any other thoughts on any of the other games in Division 2?
I think it went all to script. Maybe Hadfield's win against East Sunbury was a bit smaller than we were expecting.
Yeah, might have been a scrappy day down there for Hadfield, but otherwise I think the results were pretty much expected.
And now your quick tips for Division 2 in round 13. We have Jacana and Coburg Districts.
I'm going Jacana. Upset.
I'm going to go Coburg Districts.
Hadfield and Moonee Valley?
Yeah, no, Hadfield. They're unstoppable at the moment.
Yeah, Hadfield for mine.
And Burnside Heights and Keilor Park?
This is an interesting one, but I think Keilor Park aren't going to allow 2 losses against Burnside Heights this year. Yeah,
Burnside Heights, they might take a little bit of confidence out of the win they had earlier in the year, but I think they won't win this time around.
And finally, East Sunbury and Roxburgh Park.
Look, they kept up with Hadfield, it seemed, for a fair bit of the game, so they might do a similar thing to Roxburgh Park. This one could well be below 50, but Roxy still wins.
No, I think Roxy in a blowout.
That's it for this edition of EDFL Web TV. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more updates. I'm Claire Varley, and we'll see you back here at the Pascoe Vale Hotel soon.